One of the biggest mistakes I've learned along my journey is about feeding. Feeding, there was a time I was not doing the correct feeding. By this, what do I mean? These goats, for it to produce well, it must be fed well. So that was one of the biggest mistakes I ever done in my life, because out of it, I introduced around 4 goats at the same time, whereby it was very painful for me. And all this was about long feeding, because I was feeding on the folder collected from the markets, whereby this folder from the market comes with a lot of bacteria. So when I feed my goat on them, they were getting a lot of diarrhea because they were getting bacteria. Then at the end of the day, when they diarrhea, they get a lot of dehydration. So I introduced like 4 goats at a certain point, which was very painful for me. Out of it, I came to learn that the best way is to use the dry matter. And this has been working for me, and I thank God I learned it on a hard way, but now I know. Another mistake I have realized is when your animal gets sick. Long medication. When you get the wrong medication, that was another challenge I got, because most of the vets, they come to treat your animal when you call them, when your animal is not feeding well, but they give it long medication. At the end of the day, you'll get losing that animal, and yet you have paid for it to be treated. So that was another area, but now I thank God I have a good vet who normally take care about my animals when they get sick. Another thing is about when I got these goats is about the housing. These goats, before I learned about how to keep them in a better houses, I was facing some challenges. And this was another mistake, because I didn't know that goats are not supposed to be kept on the ground. On the ground, you'll get a lot of diseases. One, these goats will not screen as you can see them. And I came to learn that goat is supposed to stay in uplifted floor. This helps when it goes, the droppings can go down, and when it urinates, the place can stay dry. This helps in maintaining the hygiene of this goat. And this helps on healthy, because it stays in a very hygiene place, so that means also the risk of diseases are not there. Yes. My normal day normally starts at around 6:30 in the morning when I wake up. When I wake up, the first thing I do in my farm is to check on how my goats have spent the night, because most of the time, if you want to know whether the goat has a good health, it's during the morning time. You'll find them at that time they are relaxed, sleeping. But once I get into my farm, you'll find that they will all wake up. By waking up or by standing, that demonstrates that all of them, they are okay. If you find that the goat has not waken up when it has seen you, that means there must be an issue. This is maybe it's too tired because of the pregnancy, or it is not feeling well. So that's how my day starts. Thereafter, if I find that all my goats are in a good condition, I continue on cleaning the feeding troughs. I clean the feeding trough. I clean the water basins as I prepare myself to start milking. From cleaning the feeding trough and the water buckets, then I'll come back and now start milking. By the time I start milking, it's around 7 a.m. in the morning. That's the time I'll milk, whereby I clean my goat's udder and continue milking it. Within like 20 minutes to 30 minutes, I'm through with milking, whereby I take my milk to the house and also come back again to my animals so that now I can feed them for the first feeding of the day. What do we call this feeding? Ama, what do I feed on them? I feed them on a dairy meal, whereby I feed these goats on half a kg of dairy meal concentrate in the morning. And after feeding them on a dairy meal, then I go ahead and feed them on the folder. By that time, it's around 8 a.m. in the morning, whereby after feeding them on folder, I'll go back to my kids, whereby I don't normally let my kids suck the milk from their mothers. So I feed them on bottle feeding. This is the time now I'll go back to the house and come back with the milk which I milked. So I will feed my kids, whereby each kid will take 500 milliliters, that is half a liter, in the morning. And after feeding them with the milk, after bottle feeding them, I'll also now add the folder to them for the better day for them to feed on. Thereafter, I come back with a clean water, whereby I put some water for them. Since if you don't put water on them, they will get too dry since they are eating dry matter. So I put the adequate water for them, whereby that water I make sure it's enough for the dough. In an average of a goat being fed on a dry matter, it will take a water of about 3 to 5 liters every day. So I normally make sure that there is enough water for all of them, depending on the number I have. From there, I leave my farm, whereby I go and measure my milk and now start delivering my milk to my customers. By this time, it's around 9 or latest by 10, and I'm through, whereby I go and deliver now my milk and also learn other errands of the day if I have them. Later in the evening, I'll come back and now again start my normal routine, because I milk twice per day. In the evening, there's nothing much to worry about, since once I come in, I just check on how they have spent their day, whether there is anything which has occurred during the day, maybe whether all their health is looking good. And once I confirm that, I'll start now again milking for my next shift of the day. I'll milk in the evening at around 6 or 7 a.m. 7 p.m. depending on the time I have arrived back in my farm. This is the time I will milk and also feed them once again with the concentrate, which is now the dairy meal, whereby I will give them half a kg again after milking. Each goat should consume 1 kg every day. So I split it in the intervals of half a kg in the morning, half a kg in the evening. So, and by doing that, my goats I'm done with them. I'm done with my farm for that day, whereby if there is maybe less water, I will still add it, but I normally feed them only once a day in terms of the folder. In the morning, that is, I don't feed them again in the evening in terms of the folder. But all the same, I normally change my routine of feeding. How? Like for an example, today I might have fed them on dry glass. Then I have a routine of whereby tomorrow they will feed on a silage. This helps me to change their diet, because when they feed on one thing at a longer time, they get bored, or they get, you'll see them like they are not liking the folder. So I normally change them one day after the other. Today they feed on dry matter, which is the glass. Tomorrow they will feed on silage folder. And that's how my normal day is spent, unless when there is sickness, whereby I'll call a vet and come examine my animal, then see what is the problem.